Yo, welcome to another episode of Pierre's Panic Room. You know how we do. We always got the hottest, flyest guests, and today's no different, y'all. I'm excited. So, first of all, thank y'all for everybody who always comes up to me and tell me, man, I love you on Pierre's Panic Room, because y'all starting to say Pierre's Panic Room. I appreciate it. Not just the Panic Room, though. I appreciate that, man. And follow me on my social media platforms and my shows, my comedy shows. Again, I thank y'all so much, man. Hey, this is season 6. We rolling. We ain't stopping. That's why we ain't going to stop. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all, like I said, supporting it. And so I decided, I had a homegirl I've known for years, and she is an R&B and house music diva as far as I'm concerned. Maybe, you'll find out, but she knows all the stories behind the scenes. You may not have heard her name before, but I'll tell you, after she leave here, you're going to know who she is. Give it up for the one and only Akema Day. Yeah, woo, 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 woo. Look at you, still look like a superstar. Look like a star. Good Lord, girl. Well, thank you for coming finally.
What up, P?
Yeah, we know each other too long. You're going to never come. You ain't never going to come.
Listen, don't act like you invited me before. I'm going to tell him the truth. He has never.
I have asked you. I said, I want you to come by my house.
Oh.
See, there's steps to get on the show.
Oh, okay. Couch casting, we used to call that. That's an old term.
And you ain't do it, so, I
Absolutely.
said, damn it, here it is.
I was determined not to be a potato.
Really? All
Absolutely.
Right. Well, okay, since you know everything like that, first of all, let's go from your family structure, how you started off. Where are you from?
New York, born and raised, Queens, New York.
Queens.
In the building.
Cool.
Yes.
Did you come up with, what's that group? What's the gangsters, what's that gangster group?
Gangster group.
You're not the group, but the people back out there in
Queens. Oh, you talking about Nas?
No, not Nas, but the drug dealers that was so popular back then. Supreme and all them. Do you know about the age of that? Did you know him?
I think I knew them a little bit.
You think, or did you know?
I passed them by.
Oh, passed them by.
I was a good girl, so I was like,
because that's what I first remember, like in the 80s of Queens. I only remember, from that part. I didn't know that there was a white Queens and kind of a black Queens, with a mafia and them boys there. There's another Bensonhurst.
I don't think there's like no white Queens.
Bensonhurst, what's Bensonhurst? Is that Queens? Part of Queens, right? Ain't no black people. That's why that brother got killed right across that street. So black people weren't in Bensonhurst. That's Queens.
Well, I was in Corona, Queens. Okay. And then I went.
You're not going to correct me on this, man.
Okay.
No, my show.
And there's
a black and a white Queens. Okay, there's some white people living on part of Queens and black people living on part of Queens.
I'm sure there was some white people somewhere.
Yeah, no, there were. All right. So, what's your family structure? Your brothers, sisters?
Myself, I'm one of two. I have an older brother, and we were born and raised in Queens, New York. We lived in Corona, East Elmhurst, which is right near LaGuardia Airport.
Okay.
If you know about
I know.
New York.
Okay.
And then we moved to Sherwood Village, which was right across the street from Left Rack City. So most people know where Left Rack, of course, there's you had the two basketball players, the two Smiths. Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith from there. Okay, but was your
Kenny Anderson? Sorry, I should say two Kennys.
Okay. Where's your parents together while you were growing up?
No, my parents were together, of course, when I was born.
Well, they had to make it.
Right.
Okay.
But I'm half Bahamian, so
okay.
My dad was here, and then he did some things that he shouldn't have done, and they deported him.
Wow.
Well, technically, they didn't deport him, but they made it so he couldn't come back.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So how old were you at that time?
6, 7.
Okay, so you're very young. So you were raised by your mother, and you and your brother were raised by your mother.
Absolutely.
Okay, when did you start knowing that you could sing? Well, how's that?
I was about 9. Well, not even sing, because I really wasn't singing first, but I always had like a character personality.
Okay.
I guess people would say I was extra, but I would say they wasn't enough if they thought I was too much. So at 9, I remember I was in the city with my mom, and we were walking, and some man stopped us in the middle of Manhattan, and he told my mother, "Let me give you my card. She's going to be a star." And I was like 9 years old.
But just because you were walking, were you singing? Were you doing something?
I probably was singing and walking.
Okay.
And, I always had
extra.
flair.
Extra. Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, give me a call. I think you have a star in your hand." So she didn't.
Oh, she didn't?
No, my mother did not.
Right.
My mother was like, Okay. I don't remember asking her about it again, but I just kind of continued on my way, and I started dancing when I was about 12 years old.
Right.
And I was just doing my thing, dancing and dancing, and didn't worry about my grades. So when I went to try to audition for the performing arts school, they liked my dancing, but my grades didn't make the cut. So
was that the LaGuardia one school?
No, the one in the city. It was a performing arts in Manhattan.
I was called Performing Arts in Manhattan. Who else went to that school that we might know? Did you know?
I don't remember. I told you my memory's bad when we talk on the side. I don't remember, but I just
a short interview. Okay, and thank you for coming through. God,
I don't remember.
We have to go back to some stories. She don't remember no story.
Okay,
listen. No problem. You didn't know
you
who
trying
went there.
You trying to take me back?
Right. You damn right.
25 years.
Hey,
I'm
yeah,
not about. You trying to take me 25 years?
Right.
Right.
Did you remember? Did you have idol? Anybody on that was singing?
Well,
I like her.
it was
her.
it was all of it. It was a dance era. I remember. Oh boy. Okay, so it was a club called the Club Garage.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember the club. The guy Ty Mock from The Last Dragon.
Right.
He used to hang out there. I was like 15 years old, wasn't supposed to be in a club, but everybody used to say, I'm going to the Club Garage. So I lied to my mother one night, and I went to the Club Garage, and so I said I was staying at my girlfriend's house, so I had to stay all night.
Right.
But the Club Garage used to stay open all night till the sun came up. But then I didn't know back then I shouldn't be drinking like the punch and the stuff because they used to have the stuff out. And so, I'm young. I'm like, oh, shoot, free drinks.
Right, sure.
Yeah, no. So anyway, yeah.
Right.
Exposed, exposed early.
That club, was that like a house club? Or that
it was a house dance.
Club?
Oh, yes. And we would go all night.
Right,
absolutely.
Right.
Club Garage. People will remember that.
Wow, that's interesting. So when you were going, you started at 15, you said, right? 15?
I started sneaking
out around 15 years old. You kind of, I don't know, it's not really maybe similar, but remember, kind of reminded me like Madonna, when she was young, she came to the city to dance, and she hung out at certain clubs, and before you knew it, she was into the beats and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Did your life kind of go there? How'd you start getting into music from that young age?
Okay, so I still, I always was in a girls group.
Okay.
We were forming these girls group, but I danced as well. And my big sister who danced, she went off to college. And when she came back, she was a Delta. And I was like, oh, snap. I want to be a Delta. Mm-hmm. She went to college. I was still, like a freshman in high school. I was,
sure.
First year in. So I was like, ooh, I want to be a Delta when I grow up. So, I always was performing, running track and field. Actually, I got a partial scholarship to St. John's.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
For what?
Track and field running.
Okay.
Because I was really, really good. I was really good. I Junior Olympics.
Oh, nice.
Women's Colgate. I think at some point I held the 7th fastest run in the state of New York.
Nice.
So I was really good, but I didn't take myself as serious. I didn't even really practice that hard. I just was naturally fast. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to go to school in Florida because I wanted to wear shorts and T-shirts going to class in college, right?
Wow.
So I was like, I'm going to school in Florida, right? So I put in my forms to try to, get a scholarship. Mm-hmm. So they said, okay, well, we'll accept you. But I waited too late and did not get housing. So my mother was like, well, where are you going to live?
Ooh.
I said, well, I'm going to live somewhere. She was like, okay, so you're going to go to college, but you don't have anywhere to live because they gave me like a partial over there too. So it didn't include housing. So like, where you going to live? Where you going to live? So I was like, Mom, you know what? How about this? I'm going to take off a semester or two and then I'll work it out. And she was like, well, you ain't got to go.
Right.
But you're going to get out of here. Basically, you are not going to just be chilling for another year. And I'm like, Mom. So she talked to the local recruiter. And next thing I know, my ass was in the Army Reserves.
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And I was 17.
Right.
And I was doing basic training. And that was interesting.
Did you wind up serving the country?
I did 6 years, but I was reserve. So it was during the time where we were about to go active when there was a active time. I'm trying to think. It was not Kuwait, but Iran and Iraq.
Right.
During that time, I was in the reserves.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not going over there.
Right.
I said, I'm about to wrap something on my head. I said, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Right.
So I I started school, so I was late. I started school. My friends were already
College,
in school.
you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
college.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
When I came back from reserves and basic training and school training called AIT training, which is
Okay.
whatever your MOS is. I was a 71 Lima, which is like an administrative something or another. And so I'm gonna fast forward you.
You were thinking you were going to be something outside of entertainment, like a regular job? Was that what?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I
you
was
already
just
knew.
doing that. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I was appeasing my mother because I was.
Sure.
She was like, if you're not going to school right now, you're gonna do something.
Right.
And so after that, while I was in college, I pledged for my sorority. I moved on, and I always loved music and entertainment. I would do little skits. I mean, even in college, I was, actively doing things. And so when I got out, my first year out of college, there was a magazine in New York. It's called Backstage.
Backstage, yeah.
And it was just a magazine back then. It wasn't online.
Right.
So, and I went past a couple of stories, but I wanted to get to how I got my record deal. So it was an audition. It was book of auditions.
Right. Audition book, basically.
They were looking for a singer, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I think it was the Bronx or Brooklyn.
Right.
I think I went to Brooklyn. So it was in Brooklyn. So the people who were auditioning, they were in Brooklyn. Now I'm from Queens, New York. Where am I going to Brooklyn? But I wanted to go for this audition.
What's the problem with it? Is it a far place, too far to go? Is it a different lifestyle?
No, but I mean, if you're from Queens, you really not. You're gonna go to Manhattan. You're gonna go from Queens to Manhattan, from Manhattan back to Queens. You're really not doing all the other boroughs like that unless you have friends in other boroughs.
Okay.
So,
Okay, go.
yeah, I wasn't really. So I went down there and I auditioned, and I didn't really care. I was like, okay, one more. Because I've always been told you just got to keep at it.
Right.
And New York though was a great place for opportunity. Like, you can just be on the street and audition for somebody and an opportunity. So the 80s and 90s was really like that. So we're in the 90s now.
Right.
And I want to backpedal just a little bit. Prior to that, when I first got out of college, before I auditioned for these gentlemen that I wound up being on a label with, I was in a girls group. It was a 4-girl group. It was before
In Vogue.
It was during In Vogue was out.
Oh, was it?
And
you said early. No, well, no.
it was late 80s, early 90s. In Vogue was out, but all those other TLC, all those other
Jade
groups,
and all that.
they weren't out yet. And so this was a 4-girl group, and we sang and we rapped. You want me to give you a little bit of my rap? That's a no for you. Is that a no?
No, we'll be all right.
Okay then. So
No, you know what? Fuck that. Go ahead.
Okay, so I had one rap I could remember. So it was,
here we go.
I sang, but
Do we have the beat or something?
yeah. So it was like CRAZY. Am I going crazy for this guy? I can't figure it out. I'm stuck with no solution. But I ain't gotta juice him. I got bankrolls of dough and more cash for where that came from. But I'm set without a main one. Brothers come and go, but I refuse to let them. Damn. I wonder if, it was something like that.
Nice. Did you write that yourself?
No.
Oh,
Actually, I'm not. I think Steve. So I'm not sure if y'all know Steve Stout.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Stout was the girls' managers.
Okay.
At manager. I made him 2 people. The girls' manager. And either Steve wrote it or somebody wrote it.
Okay.
And the group didn't last long because the girls really weren't serious. And but I'm proud to say that, Steve was our first manager because, of course, Steve became huge and big after that. He was just starting at the label. And I guess he was on to something because, like I said, there were no 4-girl groups rapping and singing at the time except for Sequence, which Angie Stone was in. And, they rapped and Angie could sing. So, and the Sequence, they came out like in the late 70s, but we didn't know anything about them at that time. So we were like, oh, we're going to be the first of first, one of one. And now we got all these other groups out here now. So it didn't work out.
Right.
And fast forward, walking down, got me Backstage magazine, went to Brooklyn, audition. They called me back the next week, like, we want to record you. So I'm real green, clearly. So we want to record you. I went down to audition. They started bringing me all this paperwork. I'm like, oh wow, all this paperwork. What are we doing here? But I'm green and I'm happy and I'm excited. When you're young, you like, what? Bring it on. I'm ready. I kid you not. So out of college, my mom got me a job working for the city of New York. So I worked a regular job, but then, of course, I was still pursuing the girls group, and then I just, the auditioning stuff. Kid you not. I'm going to work driving 6 o'clock. Not Greg Street. I'm in Atlanta now, so I was thinking at 6 o'clock. It was V103, not V103, WBLS. I got to get all my New York terms back. I hear myself on the radio, and I am like, oh my God, I'm still going to work.
Is it a solo song?
It's a single. It was a single. It's called "So in Love." So in love.
But were you solo in the song?
I was solo artist.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
Shit.
it was really crazy.
Right.
It was really crazy how the deal happened because the time from me getting out of college and me getting a deal was probably a 6-8 month time, but I had been doing auditions and meeting people. 89, 90 probably was the busiest time of my life.
Right.
I think I even auditioned for Living Single.
Oh, good. Okay, that's a little late. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's move. Okay, so we got the history of how you came up. Let's get some of the stories that I heard. I didn't know you were around with that fiasco with Puffy and Heavy D that the people got stomped on. For those who don't know, he threw a big party at a gymnasium or school or some college or something, and they say he oversold the tickets. I heard another story, but you can tell me the true story because you said you were there.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
I actually came right after it happened,
Okay.
so I'm looking at like what's going on. Like it looked like something happened, but because everything was shut down in the front area. Okay. So I was at the radio station. A friend of mine that I went to high school with was working for Wendy Williams, and he said, "Come on down to the station." I had my record deal already. And he said, come on down to the station, come meet Wendy. And I was like, okay, cool beans. Went down to the station. She was all cool and, hey, woo, woo, woo. And she was about to get off the air. I think she was already off the air. I can't remember. But she said, hey, I'm getting ready to go down to Puffy's having an event. So you know me, I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to party. Yeah, I'll go. So I actually went down there with Wendy. And we get there, and we're like, what's going on? It's like it looked like a desert in the front of the building, which was odd because, on the radio, you're hearing all of these people are down here. And I don't know, somehow or another, either I lost Wendy or I came in through the back door. Wendy and I came in through the back door. And I remember seeing, I think Heavy was out there too, Heavy D, and the boys were there. And it was just kind of quiet, like the show had stopped. We still were unaware that all those people had died in between. Right. We were unaware. So I got home, but the event was pretty much shut down. There was nothing going on. People were kind of walking around trying to figure out what was going on. Got home, the guy friend of mine that worked for the radio, he said, I've been calling you and Wendy all day. Do you know people got crushed? And I said, oh my God. So he was worried about me because he didn't hear from me. Right. And I,
Okay, so what I heard was that the party was, had enough people in there, but some people bum rushed the door and came in to go into the place, and that's where it happened. People trying to come in, and then the police shut it down. Say, oh no, too many people coming in without tickets and all that, and so then they all basically ran, was getting back out the thing and can't get out of that little small location, whatever. Now Puffy, for him to get a party like that, or was it more about Heavy D? Was he that hot at the time? Was that because it was before his records and all that? Let's be real. So he was what? Did you know?
No, Puffy was more like at the label doing stuff. He was not like P. Diddy, Love Diddy, whatever. Right. No. He was at the label. He was working with Andre and all of them. He was trying to actually he was more of a promoter at the time. Right. So Puffy kind of like started as doing like promotional stuff. Right. And he was walking around like with Bad Boy in his briefcase for a long time. Right. But
so he was one of the hottest promoters, and that's what made you. Because why would you go to his party? Why would you go to a Puffy party unless he's one of the hottest promoters?
He was right. He was known for the parties.
Okay.
From what I hear,
you had never been to a party. You had never been to a
that
Puffy
would have been
party?
my first.
That would have been the first.
And
one.
I actually got there, but it was pretty much over when we got there.
Right.
So.
And Wendy was basically a hot DJ.
She was on the air.
Right, on the air, hot, right there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is more your grind of trying to get to know people. And
I'm an artist already.
How old were you
signed.
around that time, roughly? 22, 23.
Did you hit the nail on the head?
22. So I can see that, right.
22.
Nice. Okay, so thank God you went down there. That didn't happen.
Absolutely.
That didn't happen right there.
Absolutely.
So that record deal that you signed, it was pretty shady. Did you get out of it quickly?
So what happened was I was induced to Nervous Records.
Okay.
So the producers signed me to them, and they were signed. So they had a record deal. Right. They had an album or with the label. The producers had a deal,
Okay.
and I was induced to the label. So I wasn't really mad at the label. I was on Nervous Records. Wasn't mad at them, but the producers, of course, I'm young, and I'm just excited about getting a deal. So I'm like, I'm signing stuff.
Right.
And before I knew it, I was like, and then I signed me to their management.
Right.
So of course, as I got older, I realized like that's not something you do.
So my question is, did you get paid any money when you signed the deal? Did they hand any money to you?
No.
Okay, and then when you sing and the money, did you get any money from that record at all?
No.
Okay, so that's how. So well, to help young people out here.
Yeah.
So when you sign a deal, should you all get money automatically, or you about to go on some negative
those
steps?
are called advance, and
Right.
so you should.
Right.
Try to get advanced. And nowadays, the music business is like so different right now.
Okay.
You kind of got to come out with your whole complete everything, and then a major
Right.
company will look at you. Distribution. You kind of looking at distribution now, not necessarily labels like it used to be back in the day.
Right.
But you know, the saying is that the music business really was the mob.
Gangster.
It was the mob. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you finally get out of that deal?
So that was my first single was in 91, So in Love. So I kept saying, look, I don't want to do house music. I want to do, my mother makes a joke. She said,
that song was a house music song?
It was a house music.
Oh, okay. I know that. Okay, go ahead.
91. It went gold. It's gold somewhere.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I had another second single the next year, which was called No Regrets. And by the time I did No Regrets, I was like, I'm gonna make sure. And I actually partially wrote some of both of the songs, but I was on the label with this guy called Evil D. He was a rap group. He was a DJ, Evil D. Okay. And he was like, look, let me take. So he took me down to ASCAP so I can get my writer's credit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I was just green and just excited. And
let me ask you: do you think people purposely take advantage of young artists? Some of these people like that.
I won't use the term purposefully try to, but if you know I'm green and you don't, and I don't know, and you have me signed to your management and signed to your production and induced to the label. Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They know that you don't know no better.
Right.
So no, that's
right. But I was so excited. You got to think like I
ain't blaming you, sister.
I'm on the radio and I'm working a job still. That shouldn't happen either. By the way,
right. Okay.
You shouldn't be driving and then like.
Right.
On the radio.
But that's kind of the cliche story I've heard a lot. Drive down like what was that movie Robert Townsend and Five Heartbeat? They heard their music on the thing.
Right.
It's like I think Salt and Pepper said they heard another act back then said the same thing that they heard their stuff. It's crazy how they don't tell you, girl, we got to put this single out. Like get ready for it. Next week we dropping it.
We're gonna take you off your job. Your 9 to 5.
Maybe that's one of the reasons they try to be like, you know what? I ain't trying to pay her or pay him. Put this thing out here.
We're gonna see what it does.
Right, and then you come holler at us.
Absolutely.
That's just like I feel for people who are there's not always going to be the Beyoncés and the big people who get that money because there's so much money.
And it didn't start like that for her either. I'm sure. So we all have a start, but
it just shouldn't be.
But do your homework. And now it's so much easier to research online because back then, I mean, hell, you got to do brick and mortar. You got to go to the library.
And then sometimes you get a lawyer that he's shady too.
Absolutely.
You're like, hold up, bro. You're supposed to be helping me.
Absolutely. Yeah. How much percentage am I going to give you?
Right. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
So when did stuff start turning a little more hotter for you after the record? You started meeting people and stuff started happening to your career. You started getting to the inside of stuff.
Okay. So was recording my first single or just in the studio. I'm like in Studio D.
Okay.
And the studio is huge, right? So it's got A, B, C, D. And I'm hearing all of this like jazz with rap. I'm like, yo, that is dope. Like, I want to sing to stuff like that. So I go up into Studio A, and there's Guru Gangstar.
Nice.
And he's up there recording Jazzmatazz 2.
Right.
He had already done, Jazzmatazz tour.
Right, sure.
I mean, Jazzmatazz 1 album. So I'm like, oh my God, I love that. It's dope. And he was like, hey, what's your name? I'm like, Akema. And, my mom blessed me with that name. That name holds its own, African princess. That's it. We're done.
Right.
Quite a few people have made babies and named them after me. So if there's other Akemas under 50, they named them after me.
Lord.
Moving forward, turn the lights on. So, I'm
Guru
in there.
with
I'm talking to Guru, and I'm like, oh, this is so dope. So after talking for a while, he was like, yo, you want to go on tour? I was like, okay.
He didn't hear you sing. He didn't even hear you sing.
He probably heard my single, so he made, he heard me. He heard me recording probably while I was hearing, like when you go out during breaks. So he knew I could sing. I mean,
wow.
I think they had me sing a line or two.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Because India Davenport was on that first album.
Okay.
And she has a great voice.
Okay.
And apparently she probably wasn't going to go on that tour or whatever, but he was like, do you want to? And it was just so crazy. Like my whole career was like a fluke.
Beautiful.
Crazy thing.
Let me ask you about Guru. I'll tell you a quick story about Guru. I was in England. I was in Canada doing a movie, and they were there doing a show at like a little theater or whatever. And I couldn't believe I walked in there because I'm a fan of theirs. 90% of them were white people. I was like, what?
Absolutely.
Where the black people at this thing? They were all, 90% of the crowd of like 1,000 people. Well, they were together. Guru, they had, Bumpy Knuckles with them too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they had the whole crew with them. But I just couldn't believe that, that many white people.
His audience,
Yeah.
right.
Well, their audience, because remember, Guru was him and the
Jasmine,
DJ.
you talking about
I'm talking about the Guru.
Premier.
Gangstar.
Gangstar is Guru. He's
And DJ
Kevin,
Premier.
And then DJ Premier.
Right.
And then the artists like Donald Byrd, Roy Ayers, the jazz musicians.
That's the jazz section he did.
Right.
But his hip hop stuff was him and a guy named DJ Premier.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, Premier.
That was Guru.
Right.
That was Gangstar. So I
right.
wanted to see Gangstar. I didn't go see him by himself doing Jazzmatazz. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So I wanted to see it. And I was surprised.
Yeah.
And Bumpy Knuckles was part of his crew, for those who know. Okay. But the point I'm making is I didn't know how many white people were going to, be. I was like, wow, I didn't know he had a big white base, white fan base.
Absolutely.
I didn't know. Okay, so you did that. Now I heard you also you auditioned for Living Color. What part of it? You dancing, singing, or Kim Wayans? You supposed to be next Kim Wayans?
I was trying to be whatever I could be.
Okay, right.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. We just had energy. We were doing it. So I went down to this audition. Now I was cool with.
This is in New York or in LA?
This is in New York.
Okay, they had an audition in New York.
They had an audition in New York.
Right.
So I'm cool with Flex Alexander. He was like a cool.
Dancer, right.
He was a dancer, and of course I knew Leslie and. I mean, we weren't like real close then, but we were like cool. I knew them kind of in a, the dance crew people kind of went to different spots to go. They were just like dance in a club or like type of stuff. So I forgot how I met Flex, but Flex and I became really cool. And he was trying to be a comedian at the time.
Right, sure.
So he was dancing. He was trying to be a comedian. So we would go to spots in Queens. So he told me he was going to be down to this audition and working it. I think he was like, I'm not exactly what position, but he was like helping with the audition. So I was like, yo, dude, I'm here. The line is around the corner, dude.
Is it? Hold on. Is this had new? And Living Color came out already, or was it the first before it even came out?
Before it came out.
Oh, so you didn't know how big it was going to be?
No.
Go ahead.
No idea.
All right, go ahead.
No idea.
Long line.
So the long line. So I'm like, yo, trying to call him. Come out, come and get me, because I'm not standing. I always had a problem with the lines. I wasn't waiting behind 200 people.
Right.
So he came, he got me in, so I was able to get past the line, and then I got into the audition mode. And I think the first thing, if I can remember correctly, they wanted you before dancing. They wanted you to do an acting line, to do a line, and so he had us all. We were all lined up, and this is the funny part. So. The Wayans brothers, basically the oldest, which is
Keenan.
Mm-hmm. He was the main person auditioning.
You auditioned for him. Okay.
Auditioned for him, and it was other people on the staff.
Right.
And so we went down the and whatever I said, I did, and so he was like, okay, thank you, and then they picked maybe you, and so I didn't get picked. I was like, damn. So I went around again.
Yeah, no.
Wait, I went around again. So maybe in about 15, 20 minutes, I was in the line again. I came out. He said, didn't I just see you?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Right. That is correct. So I didn't get chosen, but the great thing that came out of that was Leslie and I are both from Queens. So everybody from Queens usually know each other, but it'll be in passing now.
Right, sure.
But during that time, waiting to audition, standing around, I think we both had a little piece of a job. And I said, look, call my job and I'm going to call your job so that we'll have a different voice on the phone. Tell them we weren't coming in. And after that, me and Les became like, we call each other cousins.
Right,
we was
love Big Les and Flex. They both do my show.
Yeah,
but hold on, your audition, did you have to dance too, or you just had?
I didn't even make it to that part. Maybe they did. I don't know.
You just had to say
was like
one
a
line,
thank you.
one line, and that was it.
That was it. That's as far as they let me get.
Okay,
Yeah.
but hold on, that was a dancing audition though. That was for not for the acting people.
No, they wanted to suit triple threats at that time. So
Oh.
remember, it was like if you dance, you sang, and you can act. So they were looking for triple threats.
Okay.
So they wanted you to be able to do all of it. But you had to make through each component.
Right.
And if you didn't make it from this component to the next, so if they liked you for your speaking voice, then you moved on to the dance, and then you may move on
Damn,
to
they didn't like your speaking voice.
well, my acting.
Well, you spoke it.
Like,
Well,
whatever.
well, damn it. It is what it is. All right. Now, you had a relationship with Heavy D of some sort?
Yes. So
Dwight?
A relationship. Well, I think I was in the studio making our single number 2.
Okay.
And again, ABC the studios, and Heavy and them were in another studio, and he was working on his Peaceful Journey album.
Oh, nice.
And Puffy was in the studio.
Well, I can see that. Yeah.
Puffy was in the studio. They were all in the studio, and they were like, "Can you throw a line in for us?" And I was like, "Okay." I was always like down.
Right.
That's why I didn't get paid. I never stopped and was like, "Can we look at a contract?" I was always like, "Okay."
Sure. No.
So, but I still get
Residual?
Yes, I do. Well, actually, when Heavy passed away, it stopped for a couple of years. But royalty, they're very small, but I still get it. So they gave me a line to sing, and
But how does that happen? Okay, just so I can understand. So they're in the studio doing something. You just walk in and look like I gotta check out what they're doing, and then they kind of know. Oh, it's Akema. I know you from around there. Like that. Because why one day like, what the fuck is you? Get out of here.
Or somebody vouched for me and was like, "Oh, that's Akema. She."
So you're standing listening. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they look around.
Sometimes they'll let you if you're already in a session. They know you're an artist of some sort.
Okay.
So you got an artist in Studio A. You got an artist in Studio B, C, D.
Right.
However big the recording studios are. So during the breaks, this is like a room. So you come out. You're in a hallway. People are talking. And that's how I got work, believe it or not.
Okay, and so you just you just walk in and do that.
Real crazy. It's really weird for me.
Okay, because you got to. I understand you got to get in where you fit in, because that little break could be the relationship.
Absolutely.
So to say I need contracts and all that, it is what it is.
No, right. Well, they'll have you sign a little something
just to say that you that you're volunteering to do that, you willing to be there.
Splits or split sheets.
Okay. Now, this is the time when Puffy is hot, so you in a real hot area. This is really happening. You in a studio that a lot of people are running in and out. Who are some of the people ran in and out of the studios? Do you remember those people? Anybody ran in and out of the studios when you was during your time?
I'll be honest with you. Whoever was hot during that time, and you probably be able to tell me better. Who was hot during
Tupac? Tupac was in there. That's good. Mary J. Blige was in there.
Okay, I got a Mary story.
Good Lord, I got to tell her everything.
I told you. Listen, when I tell you, my life feels like a flashing.
Okay,
I have done so much.
Down. Okay, we're trying to stop it. Okay, so let's say Mary J. Blige, was she? You know her?
I don't. I'm not friends with Mary.
Right.
I do know Mary through other people in the industry. I've met Mary on multiple occasions. Of course, Leslie choreographed a couple of Mary's songs. Okay. So we did cross paths. So remember now, I didn't sing R&B though, even though that was the world that I wanted to be in.
Right.
I was still in-house. And I think you asked me earlier, how did I get either out of it or past it? I just went on, after my second single, I said, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not recording anything. And it took me 3 years to get released.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That takes a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My only Mary story is I was on a tour with a lot of people, Aaliyah, Mary J., the Budweiser Superfest, 1997. Shout out to all those. Genuine was there.
I actually was there too.
Were you there too?
I was on that tour.
You remember that though? Shit.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I told you, you asked me the whole lot of questions.
Were you singing back? Were you on the?
I sang background very briefly for Aaliyah.
Tank was there.
And as a matter of fact, when I got fired, I didn't want to get into it. But when I got fired in L.A., because I have to tell you how I wound up singing background for her in a second. But when I got fired, I was not replaced by a female. Tank did my vocals. Because I have as you can hear, my voice is kind of deep, so I have a alto voice. Okay. And so, yes, and when we practiced, so Genuine had his singers and background, and Tank was one of Genuine. And then Aaliyah had hers. Right. And so, of course, practice, we would all kind of come together. Sure. So Tank used to go on a piano. We was like, he's a straight up church boy. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because what happened with so one time Mary J., she had a sister that looks like her at the time. Looked just like her. Well, okay. Sister. And I remember we were in like a hotel that we were all staying in, and her sister was at the bar, and some girl came out and said, "Oh my God, that's Mary J." She said, "Bitch, I ain't Mary J." I was like, "You rude motherfucker." That girl like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." I said, "I am not fucking Mary J." The girl's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, bye." It's when they wanted autographs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That Mount Vernon crew was rude. Bitch. That Mount Vernon crew was. They was about it. Yeah. They were rude.
I think she got rid of her after a while, but. Look it up. I don't lie about nothing I say. I was like, damn, sister, you had to do that to that girl. Them girls, they didn't know. They thought you was Mary J. Because you look like Mary J.
Absolutely.
So if I don't know, y'all can look for a picture back in '97, what Mary J. Blige's sister looked like. Is it a sister or
cousin or something?
Somebody looked just like her. But wow. And that tour, I remember they kept bringing out. So Aaliyah, let me tell you how this went. Aaliyah didn't have a strong voice, not for a theater, not for a 15,000 seater. It's different than studio singing.
Absolutely.
So by the second song, you started hearing, you know, niggas start boom, ooh. So when she would finish it up right at that, and let Kid Capri, he was her DJ. And he would spin it for a while. So she'd go away and then come back and do two more songs. So she took the break. You know, you understand? Right. And she was a sweetheart, very, very nice. But
she was sweet.
She just didn't have that thick enough voice.
She was very, very light. Angelic, actually, type of voice. She was very, very sweet girl.
On the register of what kind of voice does she have? She's a what? What would you say?
Compared to
like
I'll soprano.
That's called a soprano.
Absolutely.
Okay, soprano. Yeah, she was. And she did a job in studio very well. But they kept bringing out two people, right? And I was like, who? And they had security with them. I said, who the hell brings out? I won't tell you the person, but like people. I was like, who they keep bringing out? She kept saying, I want you to bring out my blah, 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 right? And they had security with them. And they would travel with sometime. I'm like, who brings this person out? These people, I'm going to tell you, on tour. You're the singer. You're the star. And the two people were Missy and Timbaland. Yeah. I said, who bring out their producer? Remember, producers weren't popular back then, not coming out in shaking their head. And
yep.
And they had security with them. I was like, security for some producers?
You had no idea then how.
I didn't know who they were. Yeah. And he was we called Jonah. He tried to snap on me, and I tear his bigger. He was kind of bigger at that time.
Yeah, I got it.
So, yeah, but me and him was, But then, of course, Are You Going My Way? I think one of them songs. What's the one with the baby? Like that baby sound all the time. That's One in a Million? No. Are You Somebody? Mm-hmm. That started hitting big after the tour. I was like, oh, and then I found he was a producer. Right. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Who was the dancer he's bought? Scoop. Was it named Scoop?
I think that was one of the dancers.
Because David something was popular. David Mays, David something like that.
And that actor that passed away, he also was a dancer, and he was cool with everybody. Really big actor. Now he was more of an actor, but he started off dancing.
Really? That's from not the guy from Black Panther. He passed away.
No.
Not the lead. Okay.
No, not him.
I don't know.
Okay, so listen, we gonna cut this, and y'all gonna go to the name.
No, we ain't going nothing. We gonna keep on showing.
No,
we don't cut shit. Okay.
What's his name? Y'all know he wound up doing overdosed. What did he play? Oh my God, so many movies. Dark skin, and then he did a documentary where he was like going into these places and dealing with people that sold drugs, and it was a whole it's gonna bother me. Okay, it's gonna come back to me. But anyway, he used to be a dancer, so they all knew him too. Okay. Yeah. It'll come back. So,
okay. Yeah, so that tour, I knew that from that tour.
So I did a very small pinch. I started in '96, and I'm telling you, everything that happens to me and for me, it's just like timing. Like I just happen to be there.
But on that tour, I just want to know, did you do any of the dates on the tour? Did you do the beginning at all in Philadelphia? Any of them dates you did?
No, because I did the end of the '96, and it was going into night. As a matter of fact, we did a TV show, everything, and we were going into. So we were rehearsing in LA for that Budweiser tour when I got fired.
Okay, cool. And that's why I brought that Tank. I mean, Tank is a wash.
Well, Tank was already there, but instead of replacing me, actually, I wasn't the only singer. I wasn't the only vocalist that they let go. They let go 2 or 3 of us, and then condensed. Okay. So Genuine and Aaliyah started using the same.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I remember I had no idea how fun the 90s were until after we got
Oh my
out of
God,
there.
the 90s
we had so much stuff we did. Now, you had a song that somebody might have took from you.
Yeah, let's go fast forward. You done fast forwarded me up to I'm in Atlanta now. I'm living in,
Okay. Well, you got fired and shit. Okay, we got that. Fired from backup singing.
96 was like my best and worst year, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So I met these producers, Rodney Terry, I think his name was. And everybody knew Akema already a little bit. I had a little bit of buzz in Atlanta, too. And they were like, we want you to sing, we want you to sing on this hook for this song. Okay. So I'm like, okay, cool. As a matter of fact, the song situation happened before I got with Aaliyah. It was before that because I remember saying I was never going to take anybody with me again to an audition, another singer. Because what happened with the song that is called My Boo, you can look it up. You go Wikipedia, you'll see it'll say the vocalist Akema was supposed to originally sing the song, but due to scheduling conflict, lie.
Oh, nice.
Total lie. They went with Virgo. Virgo was my background singer that I took. So I got into an argument with one of the producers because I said the track is not right. It wasn't in a key where a vocalist could actually sing to it. So I was like, I like it. It could be something, but I need so I went, I know everything. I'm so smart. Got some producers I knew and had them come down. I had some background vocalists. As a matter of fact, one of my background vocalists is JQ. He's a huge producer now in Los Angeles. He's written for so many people. He was all of probably 18, 19 years old when we were going through this process. So I got into it with Rodney Terry, and he was like, are you going to sing the song or not? I was like, I can't sing the song like that. Y'all got to fix it. You got to fix the song. So I left the studio. They fixed the song, and they put Virgo on the vocals.
They fixed you too at the same time.
Absolutely.
That's the Ghost Town DJ song, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, My Boo.
And they
that
Sierra
became huge.
redid it. Right. Can you imagine? So the gift, but the curse.
Wow.
So that was supposed to be on that song.
What would you change about that? No, really. If you couldn't sing that song in that key, you couldn't.
The song you hear now was not the original track.
Really, and you could because you could have sang what you hear now.
The way you hear it now, absolutely. But the key that the song was produced in, it was not for a vocalist. So
what I don't like about this, for them to replace you but change it because obviously it ain't right.
Right.
So you were right with what you said.
Absolutely.
Maybe they feel like you got too much mouth. And they're trying to hurt you and shit.
And check this out. Most vocalists, most lead singers, their background singers are better. Think about that too.
Yeah.
So they can be, they usually sing better.
Yeah.
So they really weren't looking for a look. They just was looking for a voice. And I guess I became too much of a headache because I was telling them too much. Like, oh, no, that's not right. So we're going to get rid of the headache. Right. We're going to do the background vocalist. I don't know if she ever got paid for that. I saw an interview she did most recently, and she was talking about this and that. And I was just thinking, rat, but... I mean, people do that kind of stuff, but I don't know if I was mad at her at the time. I was like, you're rat.
You brought her to the audition?
Yes, I brought all my people. Yeah.
Okay, so what she should have said? She should have said, no, I ain't doing it.
No, like, y'all are dirty. Right, that part. She brought me here. I'm her background now. She was like,
yeah, you know the business good.
Right, yeah. I guess I'm just joking. It's like, whatever, man.
Right.
So then the crazy part is when they got ready to do the video. Now, I don't want to talk about people. Virgo, I know you're an amazing person. I don't know what you look like now. She wasn't Akema. Right. They didn't want her in the video. They had the nerve, the gall to call me and ask me would I do the video.
Wow.
So y'all want my background's vocals.
Right, but don't. Right.
She don't, because she's some story I read recently that she said, well, when they were shooting the video, they didn't call her. So now the truth comes out. All that stuff y'all read is a lie. Right. Next up, Anyway,
people are so dirty. I mean, I know they're dirty because I'm in the film.
And my
comedy film
neighbor,
industry.
so I wanted to just see how the video was going to come because I told him I was not doing it. Right. I took my neighbor he was a cutie pie. He was fine. Right. I took him down to the video. They made him my boo. He's in the video.
Hell yeah.
My neighbor.
Everybody
so it was like
blow up. Shit.
Yeah, apparently.
Where you going next week? Shit. Okay.
Stick with me, kid. Stick with me, kid.
Okay. All right. So let me fast forward to where I met you.
Oh my gosh.
At the Acapulco Film Festival.
What year was that? Because you know my memory's bad.
2000.
Okay, thank you.
And guess what? What happens in Mexico won't stay in Mexico. Let's talk about it.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
I'm about to knock the boot off. Now,
you were really nice. I think you were still. I think you were still married at that time.
I got an image.
But you were cute. Okay. I thought you was cute. I really don't like light skin. Right. Light on light. But
wow.
But I was like, oh, Pierre's cute. Pierre's cute, and we hung out. We were cool.
Yeah.
It was no action though.
Right. No,
I was poised to not be. Y'all not gonna be talking about me.
Right.
But I mean, we had a good old time. Right. I didn't do you. Maybe I did something. But
right. Now.
Ooh, Acapulco was get it in time, baby. I can't. It was go time.
Right.
It was fun.
Yeah.
That's when it was really like they don't have them anymore.
We should do the Cancun too.
This was right.
Acapulco
first.
The film festival. Cancun. No, Cancun was first.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, no, hold on. First of all, me going because I went 80. Okay. I went 88. No, 98 and 99.
Okay.
I went there. And here's a funny thing for all those people who went to Cancun there, because it's supposed to be a jazz festival or Puffy's festival, some bullshit.
Something.
It was not. It was
shake and bake.
Let me tell you something so funny. Every dude I knew, and I knew some celebrities. Every dude had about 4 to 5 girls. Okay, I'm saying,
right. Yeah, we was dating for the weekend.
Because it's a 4-day weekend. But every girl I knew wasn't doing nothing down there. I ain't coming down there for that. I ain't messing around. So they all hitting the same girl. All my boys hitting the same 4, 5 girls.
Yeah.
Get up out of here with that.
Yeah.
You know how many times I would go to my hotel. I would come down to the lobby and sit at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I see these ball players or these rich niggas taking these girls into the cab and shit. They all cocked over and said, "All right, I'll talk to you later." Took their ass right in the cab and paid the cab driver $6-7 to take her back to her hotel.
It was definitely what happens in Cancun.
Did you go to Cancun?
No, I only did the Acapulco. I stayed because the Acapulco was the best one to me. It was I don't know. I think I did one Cancun, but
that was professional. But Cancun was off the meter. I remember seeing Allen Iverson down there. I remember seeing everybody. I'll tell you something. Here's something funny too with black women. I'm gonna say I don't know about white women. Maybe white women, but I'm around black women, so maybe just black. Y'all would be coming down to a place like that. Girlfriend, we about to have a good time. Girls trip. All y'all going down a girls trip. On the way back, tell that bitch don't say nothing to me. That broke bitch over there. I ain't gonna say like
they mad. They mad.
What happened in the 4 days? Man, that shit got raggedy and shit. Going back to the airport, I would see people read me all mad at you. See, dudes don't do that. We don't.
Y'all be mad, but y'all don't say nothing.
Well, maybe that might be true, but you know what? It's like, oh, you got that? All right, I get a friend, or I get her next time, or whatever. But y'all will be, ooh, wait.
Horrible.
I saw some stuff. But Acapulco Film Festival, shout out. I have a movie called For the Love of Money. What were you doing down there at Acapulco Film Festival?
Having a good time. I wasn't working. I was hanging with my girls. Yeah, we was the cute girls. I had a bad crew.
Yeah.
That crew was winners.
Did you go to a lot of spots like the Essence Festival? Did you go a lot of networking places like that when you were coming up?
I've done Acapulco. I did the Essence Festival once or twice. I don't really do repetitive.
Right.
So I'll get in and I'm okay. Right. Next thing I'll do, I did a
right.
I focused on at that point I was in between, my music and what I was really and okay, let me do some television stuff maybe, So Acapulco was like, let me just see what this is about because I was always still interested in acting, singing, and dancing.
I'll tell you, so on a trip back from Acapulco, because they used to say, don't drink the water. Like, get bottled water, don't drink no water from the faucet. So I did really well. I didn't drink no water at all. On the way back on the flight going back, I was sitting next to...
I got a good story about him on the way back.
Oh my God, I got to find his name. He a handsome young...
actor?
Yes.
Were you in Coach?
Hold on. Yeah. What is his? He
They know.
He's Obama's roommate or friend with Obama, the actor. Friends with Obama? Yeah. He's been a lot of TV shows and movies and stuff. I'm gonna get that
So
name.
your team is not.
All right.
I need
He was also
good
hold on.
guesses here. We
Right,
need some
right.
older
Let me cut all
people.
this out. He was I remember what he was. Nice clean cut face, no mustache, no hair. He hosts one of them like mystery shows now. You know, whatever.
You're talking about light skin.
Yes.
You're talking about gosh.
He wrote books about black boys.
He was actually supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah, a doctor, exactly.
Oh, he's Hill Harper.
Hill Harper.
All right,
See, I was on. I helped out.
So, all right. So let me ask you a question. So when I was in Acapulco, let me tell you a quick story. I was on the plane, and it used to say, "Don't drink no water, don't drink anything," you know, because the water's polluted or whatever, right? Right. And so I said, okay. So for the whole trip out there, I didn't drink any water except a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. I get on the plane, and I'm sitting there, and I want something to drink, and I want a soda, and the lady said, "Ice." I said, "No, thank you." And then Hill Harper sitting next to me, so they poured the ice in it, but it had ice cubes in it, two cubes, whatever.
Right. He's gonna die.
So I drink the soda, and by the time I put it back, about 20 minutes later, I was like, I don't know, poison out, whatever happens. Hill Harper sitting right here. I don't know Hill that well, but we know each other a little bit from the show, you know, passing. I was like, shout out to Hill Harper. You're a cool, real dude. I'm on the plane. No homo. I'm on the plane.
Wait.
My niggas always think homo.
Oh, my God.
So he's sitting right there. Like, we shoulder to shoulder.
That dude was.
I was snuggled up to this nigga. He ain't say nothing either. I was like, thank you, Hill. I don't feel it because the aisle was here. I was on the aisle seat. You know, I laid up on him. Niggas like this. Nah, I fuck with y'all. He been on. He put his arm. But I leaned up against him. You know, he could have been like, yo, bro, we don't do all that. But he was cool. You know, he was cool. Nah, no homo, no nothing.
No,
but
nothing.
the fact that I was so sick, I had to lean. I was terrible. Oh, my God. And I remember getting off the plane, and I ran into, like an international thing. I had to go to the bathroom. I ran in the bathroom, and I tried to sit down. And,
Well, I had a good story because on the way back.
So thanks, Hill. Shout out to Hill Harper. Thank you, sir, so much. I really appreciate
for
that.
letting him be on
let me rest on your shoulder. Let me use your shoulder. All right, go ahead.
My story on the way back. So it was a lot of people over there. So on the way back to the airport, I run into Kenny Smith. Now, Kenny's from Lafrac. I'm from Sherwood Village. We know each other. We all kind of, he's older than I am, but we all kind of went to the same high school. So he was like, hey, Keem, I actually think I dated somebody he's related to.
Right.
But he hooked me up and upgraded me to first class. I sat next to him. So that was my Acapulco. Boom. Shout out to Kenny Smith. What's up? You're looking out.
Kenny's married to that young lady, the actress.
I don't know. Who is he married to?
No, Kenny Anderson is. Never mind.
Kenny Anderson. Well, you know, Kenny Anderson was with Salt. I'm not sorry. The DJ. Salt and Pepper. Spinderella.
Oh,
he was with Spinderella.
They did it? Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he was with Tammy Roman. He wanted being with Tammy Roman for a while.
Tammy too, I guess.
Yeah.
That was. I remember that. Yeah.
That's how I kind of got to know who she was.
Yeah, he was dating Spinderella back in the day.
But my whole crazy thing is, how do you wind up in the bed with Nelly? Ooh. Oh, we gonna do it like that? Yeah. That's what I want to know. Nelly.
Oh,
and Nelly Jelly. Was you him and Trump?
Oh, absolutely not.
No, okay.
So, okay, Ashanti, don't get your wig, don't get your wig in a ruffle.
Okay.
This is years and years and years ago. I want to tell you about maybe 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, a friend of mine, I'm not gonna name the person. She was kind of good friends with one of his managers, and you know, her and Nelly always would be like, you know, flirting and teasing, flirting with each other, whatever. So we're in Miami, we're hanging out, and we're, of course, you know, we're hanging with Nelly. We getting in the clubs, we rolling. We leave the club. It must be about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. We didn't go to Puffy's house. He had the house on Star Island at the time. I think it was Cher Old's home. That's when he, I don't know if he's still in that one.
Well,
but
he in jail now.
Well, you know,
he
still own the home
out
there on Star Island.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you where he at.
So,
okay. You know, Star Island.
MG.
Okay.
Right. Well,
go ahead.
I think they're gonna let him out soon. But anyway, that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother weekend. This interview ain't long enough for all of this stuff.
Okay.
So we go with Nelly and his whole crew. We go to Star Island. We go to Puffy. Kim Porter's still alive. She's up. I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking we going to somebody's house this late. Kim and Puffy, they're up, chilling. We out laying at the pool. I'm like, these folks don't never sleep, right?
Right.
So we finally get up out of Puffy's house, go to, I think Nelly had rented like a mansion on the beach.
Okay.
So we get, and so I was always really funny style. Like, I'm not trying to, I don't want to say the word. Can I curse?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking.
Right.
So, and I know I'm
That's
not.
true. That's
so,
true.
so y'all bleep that out because I'm supposed to be a nice young lady, right? We're not going to get that word. I'm not banging.
When you say we, how many people went back to the house?
I mean, his whole entourage.
Oh, okay.
So it's a mansion, but it's an entourage.
Okay.
So people start peeling off in rooms. Now, keep in mind, I'm with my homegirl. You know, her and Nelly is kind of hanging out. They've been hanging out. And I'm just like, okay, where am I going to go? So I was kind of trying to spot out who would be safe.
Out of the entourage.
Out of entourage for the evening.
Right. What does safe look like at that time in the morning?
It doesn't.
The fattest dude in there?
Pretty much.
Big old fat.
And I thought twice about that. So in the master, there was a
big bed.
king bed,
Right.
and there was a big like lounge. You could sleep on it, you know, like I don't know what they call them, no round lounges. So I planned on going on the lounge because I knew my girl probably was gonna be in the bed with Nelly, and I'm being on this round. Well, it got extremely cold in that damn house, and I went from room to room. Nobody had an extra blanket. I was like, bank.
You went from room to room.
Knocking on the door. Anybody got an extra blanket? Like 1 or 2 rooms. And then I said, let me go back. So I went back into Nelly's room, and my girl and Nelly, they were already in the bed. They weren't doing anything. They were just in, everybody was, it's 5 or 6 or 6. It's early in the morning. It's too early for me to go back to my hotel by myself. And I wasn't going to leave my girl like that, right? So I said, I'm going to get in the bed. With them.
Ooh. Right, well.
So I got in the bed on the opposite side of, let me see.
Because Nelly's here and she's here. Where are you going?
On the other
her
side.
side.
Of her. Right, on the other side of her.
On her, okay.
And, because I wasn't trying to be,
on the other side. Right.
He was on like the inside. She was sort of the center. And I was like, so I turned around and I pulled the covers real. And I just prayed, like, please don't let them. I don't want to participate. So anyway, my friends to this day, they be like, you didn't look, you didn't turn around. I was like,
did they ever start fucking? It's a long time ago. Good Lord, she's scared.
Yeah. Did they start fucking? Well, what you think?
I don't know.
If I'm scared and I ain't trying to turn around,
know.
what you think they doing? Tic-tac, damn, they
scared.
snoring? No, they was getting busy. Okay, so y'all gonna say that, whatever. Those who were there know the truth.
2 people was there.
3. I was number 3.
Well, 3 people.
So
damn.
yeah, they were, they got busy.
Well, that nigga Nelly putting it down.
He sounded like he was.
Sound like he was. What, how was she acting? Was he? Lord.
I am so wrong. I'm telling the dirty secrets now. Y'all got me telling the dirty secrets.
Damn.
Yeah. That's how I wound up in the bed with Nelly, and I didn't sleep with him.
Okay. Did you ever meet R. Kelly?
I did. I did.
Same bed.
I'm done with this interview, sir.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I met R. Kelly through some of my other music industry friends here. When he was going through like a transition, I know he would be at Divine. I know you know Divine that used to do the dance choreographer. Divine Stevens.
Okay, I don't remember.
Okay, he's here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Divine has a big house out there, Decatur, somewhere. And R. Kelly was like snuggled at that house for a couple of months. And then all of the stuff started, Yeah.
So it was around that time the news started coming about what he was doing.
It was a little bit right before that.
Right.
And then, so I met him. He was here in Atlanta.
Right.
That's here in Atlanta. He was
he
here
had a house here in Atlanta. Yeah, he had a house here in Atlanta. Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was interesting. I didn't have any interactions with R. Kelly. Other than he had a famous vocal coach in Chicago. And I actually went to her when I was singing way back when I first started. My manager at the time took me to Chicago, and she heard me sing and play, and she was like, oh, yeah. She was like, yeah, I think you have great potential. And it was early on.
Rest in peace, Angie Stone. I saw recently. I saw some videos, pictures of you and her a lot. You took
Right.
a lot of pictures together. So what
Yeah.
kind of relationship did y'all have? And
Oh my goodness. So I met Angie probably 14 years ago. I was in Atlanta, and I met her through a friend of mine who's a producer, and they were friends. So we went to a gathering that Angie had, and that was my first time meeting her. But we didn't start hanging out then. So I had a nonprofit organization, and by that time I was also doing a life coaching. I had started my own little celebrity status. I was on Basketball Wives, Mob Wives. When I realized I wasn't going to be the next Mary J. Blige, I was like, let me reinvent my wheel.
Okay.
So I went back to school, and not just because of that, but I liked helping people. I was always helping people, reason why I got fired
Right.
years and years ago in the music, because I was always like, okay,
Right.
either I was going to be a lawyer or I was going to be a counselor or a therapist. And so then I moved in the direction of that. And so Angie had a girls group, and I would do like the back to school bashes for schools and all that stuff. And so I was like, Angie, you need to have your girls come out. Excuse me. Y'all gonna have to pause on this. Y'all better not let these belches come out.
Shit.
Hold on.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming out. No.
Pop out.
You real.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Back to what I was saying. Like I ate a meal, and y'all didn't give me no chicken earlier. Okay, moving forward. So we were doing a lot of just give back groups and stuff like that. And so Angie and I just started being in the same circle. I have another girlfriend. Shout out to Shanice Gibbs. She always would keep me working. I was doing a life coaching stuff, and while I was still in school to get my doctorate in psychology. So I was always doing things, and Angie had girl group, and so we started being around each other a lot. And it's so funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and it's my girl. I was thinking about this the other day. We didn't really get close until we started going gambling together. We became like, Angie knows all the spots that you could go gamble here in Atlanta. Believe it or not, there are places. And that was my girl. So we wind up like when she gravitates to you, she takes you on. I even helped her with her nonprofit, Angel Stripes, and we helped senior citizens go out to vote. We also gave back Thanksgiving turkeys and all that stuff. And so, that's my dog.
Do you think she got her just due for as good as a vocalist she was? I mean, because she was
No,
doing a neo soul, but she was a rapper, then a neo soul artist, and then it just seemed like she was in a black surf. Like it didn't go bigger than I think.
I can't really answer that question, but I will say this. She was such an amazing producer and writer that honestly, even though she had a great voice, I mean, she's a stylist. Anytime you hear her voice on a record, you know it's Angie. Okay. But the writing and the producing, she can produce a record. I think she was, producing from one of these award shows, and she had all the singers, and she just was really great at doing that. And so I don't think she did get her just. I believe that they owe her a lot of money, and I think Tyler Perry touched on it when we were at the memorial the other day, recently. And
isn't it crazy somebody as talented as her could still get ripped off?
Absolutely.
You feel like somebody young.
But it's kind of, she started young. She right out of high school. True. She went to New York, and it's on and popping. And I just told you my New York story. She was ahead of me. Can you imagine? Right. So you're happy to be on. You're like, what? Let
me ask you, and again, it's not a rip. It's just we're talking. Her look wasn't
at the time.
Right. You think that could hold people back?
Because Lizzo came, and when Lizzo came, it was popular to be fat.
In the last 15 years, it's different. But we're talking about in the 80s and 90s.
Absolutely.
I feel like, because she's a hell of a performer. I mean, artist as far as vocal writing and all that. It's like, why don't they get a break sometimes? And sometimes, do you feel like
it wasn't her time with because the industry was still prejudiced. Right. With, if you wasn't a cookie cutter.
Because you've probably seen people who were cookie cutter but didn't have a great voice.
I was.
And we didn't have a great voice, and you've seen them move on. Like, damn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this group was like they didn't have a good voice, but like Seduction or somebody, you're like, damn, Jamonda, like they all fine. And I'm not saying they have good voices, but you get what they were picking.
They could sing.
Right.
But they did not have an Angie Stone voice.
Right. I felt that.
So her weight, definitely. And I think she she touches on that in some interviews that you'll see. You know, they really did.
I'll go all the way dark skin, all that shit. They're like medium, light skinned people.
They should
real.
They should have on her.
Right. I think that you know, and I'm glad that it's changed. You know, it's definitely changed now. But I felt like, you know, as good as she could sing, but she was so great that she hung in there, and people were respected and went to see her concerts.
Absolutely.
But it could have been bigger, I think, if the times were changed back then.
And then as she got older, you know, there was other things that's happening. You know, like she had, you know, a lot of people might say, oh, may talk about a show or something, but they didn't know, you know, she had lost some of her hearing.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I hear a
the
lot
family
about that.
might get mad at me telling that, but hey, listen,
I think I heard
let's
that
just
before.
tell the truth, y'all.
Right, because
Come on,
but a lot of musicians go through that because they're on stage and loud ass music right there.
Music, and he's not a friend of mine, and I don't know him personally. I haven't been to his home, but music's soul child. You know, he lost his voice, and so a lot of times you have to get. That's why you have to treat this. This is your gift. This is your instrument. You have to take very good care of it.
Right.
And when you go into these clubs and the music is so loud, all that loud music, you're killing your eardrum. You know. So
Right. I would behoove if you're a young artist like that. I mean, it might be cool looking, but get you some earplugs. Damn that! If you go into these parties, because I've been to like
absolutely
clubs
you
in
see
Miami,
the babies
live and shit. Like, good Lord,
I went to a restaurant the other night and was like, does it have to be this loud?
Right.
A restaurant.
Right.
Absolutely.
Me and her did a play together. I just can't remember the name of the play.
You and Angie?
Yeah, one of the black plays and stuff. And I remember, I'll say this much. So I remember she was really cool. Can we get one more story that we don't know before I close this out on you? That was just because you have so many of them.
I do, and I'll probably regret tomorrow when
For
I
what?
think like I should have told
which one you said? Yeah,
that I didn't get an opportunity to tell.
What favorite thing you fuck?
Say it again.
Well, nothing.
Okay, I got two small ones. So I met Idris Elba and hung out with Idris Elba years and years ago. And he was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And this is so long ago that his daughter now, I don't know how old is she, like in her 20s. Right. She was a baby because he had a car seat in the back of the car. So we're in Atlanta. He was really good friends with a DJ here. I can't think of his name. Mm-hmm. It's gonna come to me later, of course. Okay. So we're all hanging out. And I mean, he was Idris still, but he wasn't like Idris is, right? Uh-huh. And so we were going from one place to the next. And so I was riding with him, and he tried to. Oh, I can't blame him. He tried to put his tongue in my mouth. Okay, Idris, I'm sorry I told it. It's so long ago.
Of course.
And I'm just saying, when you leave old girl, put it in. No, I'm just kidding. No. But
did you jump back from it?
No, I didn't take it. I was like real. I was like, Because I was like, nigga, I don't know you.
Like, I don't care if you Idris or
your
career could have been higher. You could be a fucking platinum.
It really could have.
You would be doing this podcast, okay, if you
I really could have.
You know how many times you've been offered some ding-a-ling in your career?
You don't even know. There's a couple of them. Usher tried me too.
I can see that. All of them.
I don't know if he wanted coochie, but I think he wanted something.
He
wanted something else, but I was like, no, boy, that's a no for me. Right. When I was young, I was hot. You seen that picture of me? I was hot. I was hot. I didn't even know I was that hot.
Really?
When I look at
Oh yeah.
You don't know when you yourself.
Now, but you was a cutie patootie. Yeah, you slim, cutie. You got cute face and stuff. You can
I didn't know I was that fly.
Really?
No.
Why did everybody wanted something? Just because you were cool?
Yes.
Hell no.
Green. I just thought I was. But I also wanted to be everybody's homegirl.
Right.
I didn't want them to. So I always had the pretty girls around me because I didn't want them to be trying to hit me.
Right.
So I always had girls. They had to be prettier than me. If I was
you've been around so many stars, have you ever had a crush on somebody? You try to holler and they turned you down?
No.
Ooh, my bad.
Let me see. Oh no, I can't think of anybody that. I had a model, and it was so crazy. Someone interviewed me and Big Les, many, many years ago, and the guy was saying, was talking about the industry. And I had this accent. I'm gonna try to find this footage for you. And I was New York all the way, so I sound like Rosie Perez. Word. Because these dudes be trying. And when I look back at that interview now, I'm like, oh my God, I straight New York, because I don't be going for that because they be trying to. I was like, oh my God, yeah. So I have one of those interviews, but I always said I want people to take me serious.
Right.
And so if I'm sleeping, and they gonna come at you, they don't stop. It don't stop. Like I'm in a session, I'm like, and dude's like, yo, let's go. I said, dude, like I'm trying to lay some tracks.
Right.
I'm in the studio. They will try you. I've been tried so many times, but
You
I
trying
just
to lay
never.
track, they trying to lay pipe.
I only
it's all
did,
laying.
you know, I
Bricklayers.
had opportunity to be like some of these other girls that
Okay.
took opportunity.
I'm about to say, you ain't got to say their name, but there's some big stars
Absolutely.
that did the thizzle.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest one, let's be real, Mariah Carey. You think she really wanted to be with Tommy Mottola, that old nigga? That
No,
old mother?
absolutely
You think
not.
she wanted to be with him? You know, who else I saw somebody that could move like that? I'm going to say this. I mean, Tyra Banks. She dated John Singleton. And she got in the movie, High Learning, and once the movie was over, it was over.
And it was lower learning.
Okay, no respect to the dead John Singleton, but Tyra Banks and John Singleton, because
It was not a match.
They were trying to hook me up with Tyra Banks at the time and stuff. But
you know, it's like it's a fad, like you know, a not so attractive guy with money or clout or opportunity, and these girls. I mean, but that's what you all like, right?
Right. No, you're right. I always say this though. I say this. I don't mind you fucking your way up to the top. Just don't fuck your way to the bottom. Okay?
How do you fuck your way to the bottom?
You fucking around, no one gives you no deals or no nothing.
Oh.
You just fuck and you get that
absolutely.
happen. Yeah, that's the bottom.
Absolutely.
But if you can fuck and get yourself up on something, hey.
And I didn't want to take a chance, so I opted out.
Right.
As a matter of fact, so much so that people were like, I mean, is she gay?
Right.
I mean, you know, I got that for a while, and I'm like, wow, am not. Strictly.
You would this close to making it.
But I will tell this story. Look, I had two more. Didn't I say two more?
All right.
I'm gonna tell this little half story. My first, once I got my record deal. Now, so Steve Stout was my first manager, but once I got my record deal, my manager, and I'm not gonna say his name, may he rest in peace. He and his wife, they were swingers.
Right.
That's a whole nother.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Okay. I was a voyeur.
Oh, you watched, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like that
I went to a swingers party in Miami, and I was at their home. It was like crazy.
It's funny you say that. I went to a swingers party one time, and I was watching, and it was, you know, they let me watch and shit. But
then you wanted to get involved.
No. No. So at the end, I wind up. What did he do? Oh, I didn't do anything. My boys did something. I left, and my boy told me, the owner said he can't come back unless you do something. Like you can't come to watch only.
But you can be a voyeur. It depends on where.
This party.
At that
It's
party,
in Jersey. It was a swingers club at a nigga house. It wasn't like a club. I thought we were going to a club, you know, but it was a house because they used to always go to
the clubs you can definitely
And let me tell you,
watch.
people in there that shouldn't do it was doing it, and people who should do it wasn't doing it. Some of the worst body shape people have been. I was like, oh my, this is a swinger party.
He was like, no, thank you.
Niggas after work, you know, mechanics and policemen and shit. I was like, this is not the business.
It was too low for you.
I was like, I'm good, but they told me that.
And you better be glad you passed on that, because it would still be rolling around them pictures with you.
No, we don't take no pictures.
You don't.
We don't do no.
I don't know. They doing pictures nowadays.
No, we don't do pictures.
Okay.
We don't do pictures. But what we do on this show, before we let you go, is we play a little game.
Okay.
All my guests do it.
Okay.
And we're gonna see. There's this Miss Akema. What do you think? Because you a fine young lady. You got your shit going on. You look like you know the difference between a boss bitch and a lost bitch.
Okay. Let me try it.
So as I tell you,
I was lost for a while, so maybe I done bossed up.
Okay, let's see if she bossed up by now.
Okay.
All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say these things, and whatever comes on your mind, the first 3 seconds, you a boss bitch or a lost bitch.
Okay.
You know, do you understand what a boss bitch means? That's down. That's something you can do. A lost bitch is what is she doing?
Right.
Okay.
I got it.
3 seconds. Y'all ready? Here we go. All right. Sex on your period.
Lost bitch.
Okay. No Red River. You know, you love your man.
I mean,
you get that booty hole up. That's why. Okay. All right.
Oh no. My God.
Once
no.
you say no to that, you used to get that booty hole up.
No.
Okay. All right. Wearing your friend's clothes.
Lost bitch.
Hey, you can't share a little jacket. Like
I used to, and one of my friends that's listening to this, she gonna be like, bitch, you used to wear all my shit. Okay, so I'm gonna, okay. But I don't know if I was a boss back then. Now I wouldn't. Okay. How about that?
All right. Now remember, y'all not friends no more. You and this girl are not friends no more. Okay?
Okay.
Hollering at your ex-girlfriend's ex. You fine.
I'm a boss. I can do what I want to do.
Ooh, I like that. You say, fuck that. Okay. How about this? Having money, but still rocking some knockoff stuff.
When you're a boss, you mix it up.
Oh, that what we call it, mixing it up.
You can mix it up.
What we got on there?
Real. So I can tell you what's right. You mix it up.
Okay.
But a boss is gonna have a mix. And first of all, design and stuff doesn't really make you.
I hear you.
It doesn't.
You think Kim Kardashian got some fake shit on?
No.
You think Beyonce got some fake shit on?
Not that's a different level. Come on, you don't win.
I thought
you
you
win
no,
from.
no,
but
shit,
I'm not.
I got on real. Okay.
No,
I got
everything
real.
I have on is real.
Bling, 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 bling.
It's real, but what I'm saying is that
All right.
you can mix it up.
I hear you.
And
but
you
Kim
can.
ain't mixing shit up.
But Kim
Chloe, none
is
of them.
okay. So now you're letting me know the levels of
Okay.
boss or loss.
Okay.
So if I'm
So
gonna
you
start
down
thinking
here,
that
you that down here, boss. You a boss down here. You ain't a boss.
I'm
up
a
there. Yeah, okay.
right.
You
you trying to clown
okay,
me?
you started working
I'm
that shit. It's your first day at work.
all right, now, let me
right.
tell a story when I used to manage you.
Ooh,
Ah,
all right.
boss bitch.
Okay.
Right.
No,
Keep going.
I'm the editor. Okay.
Oh, that ain't gonna come out.
All right. What about sex on the first date?
I've done, so I guess I'm still a boss.
Okay. All right.
Once. It's not I don't make it a habit.
Okay. Make yourself younger, a little younger. If you think of yourself nowadays, but you were younger. If you were younger, because what I'm saying is, if you were younger, you might have. Well, this thing okay. This thing will work.
Okay.
Here it goes. Ass photos on social media. Your butt in the bed.
Lost bitch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you showing it for free. Why?
Okay.
Lost.
What about? And it can be starting at 2. Multiple baby daddies.
Lost bitch.
But you make it. What happened? You might make it
No. Multiple?
Yeah.
You didn't say 1 or 2. You said multiple.
Well, it starts at 2. I said it starts at 2.
That's
So
a
two baby
couple.
two-
And then
two-
few is a
two-
3.
Two baby daddies. You know, Lord.
I think you can have 2 baby daddies, and that's a maximum that I'm going to
Still
roll
be a
with.
boss.
You can still be a boss with 2 baby daddies.
3 baby daddies not a boss.
3 baby daddies, you've gone too far.
Damn.
You having a baby with every nigga you fuck. Stop.
Okay.
You're lost,
All
bitch.
right.
Yeah.
What about this? Telling your girlfriend that you seen her man out with another girl at a club or bar or something like that. Running back, basically.
Well,
Lost or boss?
okay. I mean, you're a boss because I've done it
What?
before.
Snitch.
I've done. It's not a snitch.
You're a snitch.
No, it's called loyalty.
Hell no. But what happened? Say you'll fuck around and find out that. Here's the problem.
Oh,
Here's the
I'm gonna tell you what happened though.
Okay.
I did do that before when I was in my 20s and 30s.
Told on somebody.
I told one of my girlfriends. I said, "Yo, we saw your dude," and she told us, "Don't tell him no more." That was it. I ain't never told her. That was done.
See?
That was it after that.
So you ain't telling no more.
I ain't telling no more.
So okay, right. So that's
I'm
okay.
done.
Okay. I guess, I'm gonna use a time frame. Say you go out a lot. You go out. You do a lot of events. You go out a lot.
Right.
Twice a week, 2 or 2 times a week.
Okay.
So in 1 month, posting the same outfit on a different location online.
Lost.
Damn! Whatever.
You can't post
that shit.
I don't. How many years have you known me? How many?
Right.
Have you ever seen me in the same outfit twice? Be honest. Let's go with it.
Okay,
Never.
That's
If you know me,
because Sheen became popular in Toomey. That's only Timu and Sheen became popular.
I don't order
That's
from
why.
none of those places.
Oh,
Don't
hey,
do,
bro.
don't
Let
do,
me
don't
boss
do me
bitch.
like that.
Boss
Don't do,
bitch.
that. Don't do me like that.
That's only you rocking a lot of new shit. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. What about keeping your last name after the divorce?
That's why they call me Dr. Day. My ex-husband's name is Day. If you look me up, it's Akema Johnson. It's my maiden name. Dr. Day is what I go by. And so guess what? And I'll tell you why I kept it. First, I like the sound of it. Day.
Petty.
I love it, Doctor. Very petty. I'm gonna go with the petty.
Ooh.
I love it. 1, 2. When my son and he was made in wedlock.
Okay.
So my son we have a son together. When we divorced, my son is still in school. I didn't want them to be calling me Miss Johnson and your son.
Why you worry about other people? Why you
I
worry?
wanted to keep the name. Listen,
Boss don't worry
and
about shit
I
like that.
chose to. And boss said I want to keep the name. I mean,
Eddie.
speaking of my friend Angie Stone, she kept her name. She was married to Rodney way back when.
Rodney Stone?
There you go. She kept her name.
Well, you know what? Hold on.
I love this name.
hold
I
on.
love it.
I can see if you're a celebrity, I can see that. But when your ass is working at the mall, the bank, and shit, let it go.
But she was never gonna go back to her maid name.
No, Angie Stone is popular. I mean,
and it's a good name.
No, but you made the name. No, but you made the name. That name, you're Angie Stone. You're not Angie. You go back to Angie Hertz or something like that, or Angie Harris. I get that.
So you're saying if you're a celebrity,
I guess you get a pass for that.
So now, when I was a singer, I didn't have no last name. It was just Akema.
Right.
Right. So when I got married and I started a family, went back to school, blah blah blah. My last name became Day, D-A-Y. Okay. So now I'm Dr. Day.
That's what we have on here, Dr. Day. Give it up for Dr. Day. Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, young lady. Like I said, I've known you for so many years. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen you around. You've done some. You've always kept yourself classy, carried yourself classy. So some of these stories I expected to hear. Not too much detail, but you know, it's all good.
Oh, I gave a little bit more than you expected.
No, a little less. Okay.
Oh, you want more?
No, deeper.
Oh, so next time I come back, I can tell you my Michael Jackson, Prince.
Hold on, that's why I want to ask you about that. Yes. So hold on.
I got other stories, but y'all ain't got enough time for a girl.
We got 5 more minutes, okay? Michael Jackson, and let it be good. Michael Jackson. I tell you, don't let my Michael Jackson story be better than yours.
No,
Michael Jackson and Prince. Remember.
Okay, so I was out in L.A. A friend of mine was dating Londell. What's his I don't even Londell.
Lawyer?
McMillan.
Right.
I think it's
It doesn't matter.
Well, it's Londell. That's all I knew him by his first name anyway. She was dating him. We were all hanging out in L.A. So he was like, y'all want to go with me to a party that Prince is giving? Yeah.
Right, sure.
Okay, this is back, of course. So I'm telling you, to this day, my phone went dead. I still know somebody took some pictures, but I don't know where the pictures are. Anyway, we get to the house, and Prince is there with, it's a private party. And he's so beautiful. Prince was just like, he was little, but he was so cute. Right. And I was like, oh. So he was like, how y'all doing? He was really nice to us. Just, he was a pretty person, just like pretty in the face. So he said, y'all want to come to my show in Vegas? I'm doing a show in Vegas. And let's just say today was like a Wednesday or Thursday. He was doing a show in Vegas on Saturday. We like, hell yeah. Right. We want to go to the show in Vegas. So he was like, okay, I'll set it up. We like, oh shit, we about to go. So we get to Vegas and Prince is performing. And to my left, so we're in these little round sets. And Prince is performing on stage. To my left is Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker. Nice. And it's kind of like, oh my God. So where would you ever see them in a room together like that? So
Michael was looking at Prince perform.
Yes.
Dope.
Oh
nice.
My God. One for the records. Y'all can look it up.
No,
Google. Y'all bloggers. Y'all look that shit up. I was there.
All right. You got a second for my story? Real quick. So let me tell you my story. So my boy used to work for not Michael Jackson, for Prince, like his gopher runner or whatever. Mm-hmm. He, so he fly with him different places and stuff. One time Beyonce was at what's the in New York, with not Madison Square Garden. What's the other big place now they got in New York?
In New York,
they play basketball at and stuff.
The Dome.
We also. Right, whatever the big place is.
I'm firing all these people in here.
Barclays,
they're not good guesses.
She was performing at the Barclays Center.
At the Barclays Center.
And he had to call because Prince wanted to see her. Mm-hmm. Called. He said, okay. So Prince said, open all the doors that from the street to the chair, damn near to the seat. It's like, you can go that way to the front. Give me 2 seats. No one talked to him, no nothing. So he said, got in, he pulled up, walked there, had 2 seats, watched her for like about 45 minutes, and got up and left again. You couldn't talk to her. I was like, damn. So a couple of days later, he was at Prince's house. And Prince made a quote that I make, like, light-skinned brothers ain't in no more, something like that. My boy's like, yo, my friend, a comedian, he made that joke. He said, oh, yeah. He said, Pierre. He said, yeah. I was like, so he knew.
He knew your joke.
Right, he knew my joke. And he said the next day they were playing basketball at his house. And he said that he made another quote that I said. And he was like, damn. And I was like, that's it. But I said, what kind of shoes he had? He had some Jordans on? He said, no, man, ain't no damn Jordan. He had some Prince tennis shoes on. Like whatever Prince was, some shit that would be something different than most people had, right? I was like, damn. I asked him, I said, could you call him? Because I was coming to Minneapolis with Def Comedy Jam. I said, could you call him and see, like a week later, if you come to my show, it'd be dope if you come to my show. So he called him, but he was going to New York to see Janelle Monáe perform around that when she was early on in her career, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Career, I don't know part of her
nice.
career was.
She was,
yeah. So he went to go see her. And I was like, damn. He said, Prince knew who the hell I was. And so he said, you ever heard a basketball player named Jalen Rose?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Jalen Rose played for Indiana, whatever. He's a commentator, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said one time they were at a party and Jalen Rose came over to him and said, hey, can I get a picture with you?" To Prince.
Prince did that?
She was like, "Okay, all right, Jalen, you know what I'm know. You know what I'm talking about." My boy told me. He said, "Yeah." He said, "No, we're not taking pictures." I said, "Oh." He said one time he was in a party in France or something. Some lady was like, "Prince, I was with you in a black, French woman. I was with you in Sweden. And we thought this, that." I was like, She's like, blah 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 blah. And time for her to leave, and he looked at my boy like, "I don't know her. I've met her for my life." I was like, "God damn."
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
but
so funny.
those are my my little Prince
That
stories.
Prince story.
But I'm glad you came so much.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
for
the stories.
having
Yes.
me.
You've been around, not in a negative way, but you've been around with your
Been
with
around-
your career.
been
right?
around the world and I-
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really cool. I'm
Thank
glad we had a
you.
chance to sit down and talk about some of the stuff you went through, man. Cool.
And I got a surprise coming.
You do?
When it comes, when we release it,
Okay.
I'll come back on.
Let these people know how they can follow you on your social media.
Say, okay. Yeah, you can follow me on @LifeCoachDay. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and at @LifeCoachDay, DAY. I kept the day.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for watching this episode. Give her a round of applause, y'all. Akema Day, thank y'all. Thank y'all for watching, man. Leave some comments in there. She had a whole bunch of stories, y'all. Thank y'all so much. And
Get me in trouble.
No, you good. No, you good. And y'all keep supporting my thing. I appreciate we have another episode coming soon. Thank you. Holla at your boy.
Hello, everyone. I am Life Coach Day, also known as Akema Day. And guess what? I survived Pierre's panic room. I did it. Thank you.
If you like that show, like, subscribe, and comment below. Hit the notification bell. Hit the subscribe button, man. We want you around. Appreciate it.